We're back, guys, after a bit of a break here, and game number 1 of Gen G versus KT was a long, drawn-out one.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like KT was more patient and more calm and played a better, safer macro late game than Gen G, which is weird to say.
It's been a real interesting couple of big matches. We have a lot of games which have been up in the air at 40 to 45 minutes, where one team, like in this case to me, Gen G, have the outscale. The outscale's not 80-20, but it's, you know, at least a 65-35 outscale where Gen G have many different frontliners who can walk up, do damage, and also zone away the Xayah. Meanwhile, the GP can also kill the enemy frontline faster, whereas KT really needed depth in order to pop off in a true 5v5. But this wasn't a true 5v5 that answered the game, and that's why the outscale doesn't matter, because KT have had match winners. They've had the Ryze Realm Warp to split away Orianna and the AD carry last time out against Griffin. Game ends. In this game, we have Mata catching them here, and KT just playing these engages here so well. Multiple times we saw a Sejuani ult that was never going to actually get a kill, but it gets the Devour, and from there KT are able to trade up. But it's such fine tooth comb that you have to go over these team fights to truly understand who's winning and losing them. This was the big question mark here. Ruler walks up. Unfortunately, we don't have the mini-map to understand what he saw, but obviously looks really bad to walk up and face check KT Rolster.
Yeah, it was the one catch that actually got the Baron for KT, which is what allowed the push in the bottom side and eventually opened up the game for them. But this was the game-winning fight. Scorer does his job just to get the ultimate and the Devour out of the way. And then Mata shows up. Beautiful. Perfect. Right on top of them. They re-engaged before Devour was available. And also, Core JJ got caught. It was quick. It was easy. Smeb cleans it up. It was really, really nice.
As it happens, Fly is not there. Cuve's not able to put any threat onto Deft, who's full health the entire time. That's not what a 5v5 should look like on equal footing. It wasn't on equal footing. There was a super play by Mata. It caught the enemy unaware. Jace assassinated the enemy AD carry, and the game ended.
Yeah, the span of about, 8 or 9 minutes here, the gold lead changed into the side of KT, and they were able to win it over the course of a couple of team fights. And after 50 minutes, we will have our MVP. It will be Deft on the Xayah. Interesting pick. He didn't make any mistakes. He didn't die. He's looking a lot cleaner this season, and it's definitely part of the reason why KT are getting more consistent wins.
Until 2017, In Deft We Trust was one of the most endearing stories in Korean League of Legends. Uzi over in China, Deft. Think of all his match-winning performances for Samsung Blue, or his match-winning performances on EDG. He had a down 2017, but Deft has largely been a huge carry and power point for KT Rolster in 2018.
Yeah, it says it's been a long time, but the one-man army of Deft is back, essentially, was the translation. And I mean, it's true in terms of the damage in the late game. Yes, I do think that it was a team effort to win the game. Deft definitely deserves to receive the MVP. I think he also had a very clean game, but KT as a whole, I mean, they are just impressing over and over again. Now, the last 3 games they've faced FLICKR, SKT, and Griffin. They won all of them 2-1. Is today going to be the day where they get a 2-0 over arguably a stronger team? It looks good in game 1, but we'll see if the pattern continues. Let's jump into pick and ban for game 2 and find out.
Starting to see a big red side trend also, and Gen G get their first side onto the red side for counter pick in game number 2. No changes in the lineups, no Haru, of course, with all the success that Ambition has had on the roster. For now, at least, Gen G sticking with the norm. Seems like Swain will be open for KT if they want it.
We'll see what they decide to ban here last Gen G. We've been seeing a lot of teams just ignore the Nocturne, ban out other stuff. Tompkins gets taken away this time around. They don't want to have to go to 50 minutes and double engage to end the game. Gen G thinking long and hard about this, and it will be the Rakan. After that last game, I don't blame them.
Nocturne left open, but Nocturne priority at an all-time low in Korea.
Wow.
KT is going to go back to week 2 and first pick the Sejuani. Definitely rolling back the clock here. A fallback for Ambition. Remember that Ambition has Trundle banned and also the Sejuani taken away. They seem to be happy for him to go back to the Gragas if he wants it. Could be Gragas Swain for the side of Gen G.
Swain seems pretty obvious. Will be picked up here. What will they bring in? Will it be the Gragas? Will it be something else?
Nocturne.
Maybe they try to bring in Orianna early, something like that. It was banned out actually in game number 1 on the red side by KT. And Fly looked really clean on it. He is currently 2-0 on the pick. Not going to go for it just yet. They want to wait and see. They will go ahead and pick up Skarner, actually, ahead of the Gragas this time.
Old Ambition fallback pick. So many champions left open. The Nocturne, for example, the Gragas, all of them abandoned. And yeah, KT just lock in the Shen support for Mata. And it seems like Yukal might be running onto the Rise again. Common pick for Cuvée in the top lane. Outside chance Smeb will play it, but probably going to be Yukal in his Realm Warp against Griffin that we alluded to a couple of times in game number 1. Was a match winner. Gen G haven't chosen any of their bot lane yet, but seem like they'll take the strongest marksman available in the Varus. Could ban away the Ezreal if they want to. The Ezreal versus Varus matchup is a Varus winning matchup, but denying options away from Deft, always something worth considering.
I like the pickup. They're not going up against Galio, Rakan, and, crazy deep engage on the side of KT this time. So they decide, hey, we can get the Varus farmed up. We'll try to delay it. He'll have a QSS eventually to deal with those 3 champions. And we can try to deal with whatever KT draft next. Getting into the second picks, second bans here. Double 80 carry ban by Gen G. We're living in a new world, a new meta. And even the Orianna is also going to be taken away.
Wonder if we'll see KT consider a return to the Xayah, which is left open when it comes to marksman tier lists. Starting to run out of other options. Deft has, of course, played Swain and Mordekaiser in the past, but largely going to be best on marksman. Maybe that's the way to hold Gen G honest, is to go marksman versus marksman and have similar win conditions. The Morgana here to empower both the Varus and also the Skarner, as Deft just confidently locks in Kai'Sa for the 2v2, most likely. Okay, so tricky lane for the Kai'Sa, but they're saying, hey, we like long games too. We're going to play Kai'Sa.
Not the strongest in the lane. You're going up against Morgana Varus. You better hope you are ready to deal with some poke and some really hard laning phases. And looks like maybe we will have Fly move off of the Swain as well. I do like this. Bring him on something else. The Orianna's banned. Zoe left available until last pick, and they'll gladly scoop that up.
Long-range poke, very useful against Kai'Sa, who really needs to get down and dirty in short range. The game goes on to fully get the damage out of her kit. Does mean that Swain is a ranged opponent for the Gnar on the top side. It's not going to be Gnar dunking on a tank as easily as some of his other matchups. You would think that Gen G have an incredible lead in the 2v2 with Varus Morgana double ranged against Kai'Sa and Shen. Shen mostly picked for his ability to deal with melee supports, bruisers, and also to teleport out of lane. So not necessarily the usual position for Mata, who's usually on stay next to Deft as much as possible duty. See how this all works out though. Gen G flexing the Swain does give them some nice options against both Kai'Sa in terms of composition and just the overall draft from KT.
I was struck mostly here in this draft by KT's confidence. Every time they picked something, they didn't dilly-dally. They didn't wait around and think and wonder. They just picked it right away. They just snapped it off the ground. They're like, this is exactly what we want, exactly what we need. And, well, we'll see if it actually comes out in the Rift, in the playing, and actually shows itself, that kind of confidence, because even the first pick, Sejuani, yeah, it was pretty good in the first game, but after banning Tom Kent, it seems like they're even more happy to pick that up and just get into a nice little pick comp of their own.
Sejuani versus Skarner, very good for the Sejuani around objectives, just ult, ambition, and then take the objective. But if Skarner gets going, there's a lot of lanes to path around, so level 6 onwards could be a big opportunity for Ambition to take this game by the scruff of the neck.
That's going to be good. We'll see if KT can break the streak of 2-1s or if they will just sweep it up 2-0 over Gen G. The countdown has started. Let's jump into game number 2. Here we go. Match 63 of round 2, game number 2. And oh boy, it's a rough bottom lane, that one. We'll see if Def can actually have a clean and mistakeless Kai'Sa game in the bottom lane up against Varus.
Only team to win with 80 carry bot lane Kai'Sa. So we're not talking about funnel, we're talking about in a 2v2 in Korea. Has been KT. One win earlier in the season, I believe against MVP was the only win. That was AP Kai'Sa actually coming through from Deft. Could still be considered here. We saw a Kai'Sa recently in the bot lane that was actually the Stormrazor Kai'Sa that was played in the LPL as well. Looking for a one-item power spike that isn't the Rage Blade, which still builds pretty awkwardly. Very interesting to see which build path we see from Deft in this game. You wonder if this is a quintessential decision against Gen G. Gen G can play aggressive, but you think against most teams, Varus Morgana and, say, a jungler that likes to gank, then it sounds pretty terrifying to be playing TP Kai'Sa in the bot lane. If this was Ruler on the Kai'Sa, he might have considered heal, but to go further down, it's actually heal ignite from the summoner spells on the side of Gen G in the bot lane, and it is teleport from Deft. So it's basically saying, we don't respect there to be any jungle pressure bot lane, and we're going to get a farm lane out of the Kai'Sa.
Looking forward to if that actually comes through, like the heal just for the extra sustain down there and survivability. Early pathing by Score up into the top side, saying, I know exactly what path you're going to take. He ignores any of his other camps and knows that Ambition is going to skip this one and not get aggressive, so he says, hey, I can get a slight move up in the top side by taking it away.
Top lane is the only lane he's going to have priority on early. Gnar as a ranged auto attacker with good harass, with the long cooldowns on the Death's Hand Q from Cuvée in the early game until level 9. Swain doesn't have that much lane control against a Gnar, so always feels good to be jungling around your strong lane. And in the early game, that does represent top for KT Rolster.
Yeah. And you will notice that Ambition just going to come down here to the bottom side, pick up the Scuttle Crab. Couple of question mark pings, probably by Score in his own jungle, as he's not sure. Grabs a ward from UCount just to check the Raptors, and yeah, Ambition just going to back off, and we'll see where he does head. Picks up the boots, as he has gone Predator on the Skarner. Pretty standard.
Fly, getting an auto attack in there, but nice little trade from UCal. Both of them, bit of love taps from both sides, competitive trades in the mid so far. I want to talk a little bit about KT's comp. The Kai'Sa is definitely a surprise from a how dare you, no one's playing 2v2 Kai'Sa because of her weakness in lane. Do consider how Kai'Sa's passive interacts with her teammates, the hard CC attacking, being able to attach plasma stacks for the Kai'Sa to explode damage. Consider that Smeb, Score, UCal, and Mata all apply plasma here. All of them have hard CC, and some of them are point and click, and some of them are reliable, some of them are situational. Sort of game where you feel like definitely a lot of dominoes could be set up for Def to be able to turn out some big team fights front to back. This is the sort of comp where Def can just auto-attack the closest target, and if they're perma-CC'd and he gets free autos, he is going to wreck team fights. He doesn't need to reposition and assassinate in the back line like Prey was doing back at LCK Spring Finals. So there's definitely a lot of payoff for the Kai'Sa. It's just, can you get Kai'Sa out of laning phase reliably? The answer from KT is maybe against Gen G.
Maybe. Now, Gen G, in order, you know, they look at this and they know what you're saying, Papa. They say, okay, this is going to be risky for the Kai'Sa. She doesn't have the heal herself. She's going to TP in the lane. We need to get down there and actually punish her. And the way they're going to be able to do that is through Ambition, trying to, you know, get the Impale down and actually diving the turret, perhaps. You could have Cuvée try to get a TP behind. He's going to be on that tanky Swain. Notice that he did not go for stopwatch. Actually, nobody on the side of Gen G went for stopwatch. And nobody on the side of KT either. Nobody picked up a stopwatch.
We've gone from 10 to 0.
I don't know what's going on anymore. I was expecting at least someone to pick it up, but Gen G nor KT, not a single person has picked it up. No perfect timing from them.
Let's talk about how Gen G play out the game, because we definitely see where KT's going for. When they hit a certain item point, attack that plasma, kill the closest target, win a team fight. That's the KT way in this game. Gen G, who actually have to respect the teleport coming in from Smeb just to get the scuttle here for score.
You can see they really want to challenge it here. It is going to go over to the side of Score, who does follow up. But again, ambition was there. You can return to your point, Papa.
For once, Gen G actually have the oppressive 2-item comp. They have the ability to siege with Zoe and Varus. And if you're KT, you hard engage or you're in a lot of trouble. They don't have great ranged wave clear. Kai'Sa and Ryze can do a bit, but they need a bit of setup time. And in that time, a Trouble Bubble, a Skarner ultimate, a Varus ultimate, you're in a lot of strife. So KT really are focused on the ability to siege here. Fantastic siege comp. They can also play front to back by just Skarner ulting someone, and they have incredible single target damage to take that person down. But for once, it feels like Gen G have the impetus to actually force the issue before KT really get all their items onto Kai'Sa. And because that's a different look for Gen G than how they found their success in recent memory, it's going to be fun to watch it unfold and see if they can actually act on win conditions that are not just, let's just wait till the marksman has 4 items.
Yeah, we were taking a little look at the bottom lane. Shen wasn't even there, but even 1v2, Kai'Sa was holding her own. Could also just be a confidence thing. You know, maybe Deft is saying, I'm really good on the Kai'Sa nowadays. And, well, we're taking a look at it now already. Look at the burst damage coming out as the Morgana. Core JJ was going into the river. Mata was nearby, so they get aggressive. Deft and Mata, they're not really the duo, even with the Kai'Sa, to sit back and just try to farm from behind. They're even getting aggressive.
BF Sword confirms this will not be an AP Kai'Sa game from Deft. We'll see if it is the Storm Razor. I'm still kind of learning about that build. Seems likely it will be. A 1-item power spike on the Kai'Sa to make the 2-item spike earlier. That sounds good. But given how Kai'Sa's scaling works, I guess Storm Razor Rageblade makes sense in terms of applying plasma, exploding the plasma, and getting yourself to 100 AD for the Q evolve. But it's a bit newer. I guess I'm an old fogey when it comes to those Kai'Sa builds.
You're still reminiscing about the spring finals. King Zone picking it over and over and over again, getting wins. Different time, but we'll see. I mean, if Deft is able to come in here and have a really strong game into a hard 2v2 lane, it definitely opens up questions for the future. We could definitely see Kai'Sa popularity begin to go up a lot because teams will realize, like, hey, okay, we have some coverage down on the bottom side. Maybe the Shen is good enough to deal with the Varus auto attacks or whatever they feel about it, and if it succeeds, we could see it again.
I guess the unique thing to me about this matchup is Gen G just aren't known to punish passivity in the bot lane. Ambition has not been a ganking, punishing jungler, and while Kai'Sa is not fantastically strong in the trades, Deft feels like he can teleport back to lane, get decent item timings, and get through this laning phase. So maybe it's a quirk of playing against a team with a low presence jungler, or maybe it's the new meta. I guess we can't know.
Well, talking about, low presence early games teams, there are 2 that are at the top, and currently they're in first and second place. So for other teams that like to get more aggressive and like to play an exciting style, this could be a hope, right? Just draft more risky stuff. Bring in your Gangplank with Sorcery and Klepto. Bring in your Kai'Sa into the bottom lane. Draft crazy scaling stuff, because you might just get away with it.
Hopefully, just a story of things continue to iterate. The way to punish scaling is to go super early game, and some of our teams here are good at that. So wait and see how that pendulum swings. KT Rolster getting them zone control around mid lane, clearing out some wards. Smeb happy farm times, but no punishment in the items just yet. Just the Merc treads to not get tussled up by Cuvée.
Yeah, just hanging around up there on the top side, just a bit of farming. And, well, really, that's all we've had this game. No action. Nobody's going for the plays. I saw the bait in the mid lane as we were talking about Kai'Sa, as Yukal actually got hit by the Trouble Bubble, and Score was waiting in the wings. That's one way to hop on top of a Zoe. But she has Cleanse, another way to shut down that Sejuani pressure. But Fly just decides, I don't care about Sejuani, and I don't need my Skarner. I'll just try to win the lane myself.
And with that, with the mid laner being chunked out, no teleport from UCAL, they should be able to take this Infernal Drake. Nice first spawn for Gen G, who are always going to have 2v2 lane control on bot. They picked that one up. In hindsight, thinking about Ruler, maybe this would have been a Manamune into Lethality Comet build, Varus, because then in that siege scenario we're talking about, able to chunk from range and do a lot of damage. Bot lane.
Looking for the engage here. A score comes in, but it's a 3-on-3. But look at CoreJJ popping on in. His death and first blood goes to him. The Impale, though, and the Shen ultimate is going to keep him alive on the backside. So Mata, another good engage. He finds the kill for his AD carry.
Mata able to make it look deadly on the Shen, and so easy is the cleanup for depth afterwards. Now this Kai'Sa's just straight up winning lane Valdez. Really troubling times for Gen G.
Definitely not a good look. I'd like to see how that happens. We've seen Morganas get caught before.
So on the minimap, of course, Sejuani and the Skarner see each other, and in the middle, CoreJJ obviously thinking about two different things. Maybe didn't even have his screen centered. Gets turned on. Really nice play comes through from the Shen, and again, Mata on this Shen has been a revelation in the last couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, they let the Shen go by, actually, two sides of the draft, right? The first pick said Sejuani. It didn't get banned. They banned the Rakan instead, understandable. But then they pick up the Swain Skarner. They totally look over the Shen, and that was part of the reason why it was, like, just picked right away by the side of KT, because they're like, okay, yeah, I mean, of course we'll take it if you'll give it to us.
Gen G are not a team to early draft Shen very often. Remember, Gen G's big thing in their drafting phase is to counterpick or set up a winning lane for Ruler and CoreJJ. Because for so long they were playing marksman against awesome dudes, their big job in every draft was to just set up a safe lane for a marksman, just allow the marksman to get through, either counterpicking the marksman or counterpicking the support. And while they have the winning 2v2, because Ambition is not the sort of jungler to actually punish a losing 2v2, they're getting the push, they're getting the shove, but not to the tune of a meaningful lead. In fact, the meaningful lead is actually in the mid lane for Fly.
Yeah, UCAL having a little bit of trouble on the Rise. Of course, the Rise will be a little bit better as the game goes along. He'll begin to just chunk people out in 1.5 rotations. But now Fly, a little bit of trouble here. He does have the cleanse, doesn't even have to blow it. Actually, UCAL blows his cleanse on their gank, so just trying to help out the Rise in the mid lane. It's not really successful.
Bot lane is definitely the easier gank for the side of KT than mid lane. Slippery for now is Fly. Getting a bit of control here. Anything they can do to guarantee full minion waves onto the Kai'Sa, it's just like a party for the side of KT. They just want to party in the bot lane and watch as Deft maneuvers his way through every single piece of farm.
I mean, that's exactly what's going on here. We'll see if UCAL can try to come from behind and carry his team with his ultra-fed AD carry. That's the dream. Doesn't even need to be that front-lining super-fed Rise, just a bit of a support utility one.
Sadly, the super-fed Kai'Sa 1-0 is going to go QSS just to guarantees you can keep farming. If you don't go heal, I guess that's a possibility, is teleport.
Well, this is coming in really aggressive. It is Mega Gnar, but Smeb is going to run out of it in just a moment. There it is. Interesting play.
That teleport sucked.
You know, maybe if they didn't see it, and Ambition wasn't there, and the bottom lane wasn't paying attention, then maybe it could have happened.
You understand what he was thinking, but the Mega Gnar was already so expired that there was like a half second after he arrived to set up a flash ult, so it wasn't really going to happen. So not quite sure. Smeb usually a fantastic teleport player. That one let him down.
Well, he returns to the top lane. He didn't really miss much, just was able to walk up there pretty fast. Actually, QV just backed after the play, didn't have his own teleport. Maybe he figured they could force a fight in the bottom side. He had the teleport advantage, so he was trying to make something happen with this Mega Gnar, but
I'm a big fan of Smeb's build. He's going completely for lane, rushing Wit's End against QV. Reason why I like it this game is, well, Kai'Sa already being pushed in. That's what's going to happen against Varus Morgana. Fly is heavily winning trades in the mid lane. He wants to be the 1 point of power in the laning phase. Does Smeb, and if that means he can push up and take winning trades against QV, that's probably enough.
well, you take the Rift Herald, you use the Rift Herald, especially if the top lane has been pushing in, as Smeb has been doing. QV trying to stop it there, but is a little bit too late. This is going to get the charge in the first blood turret up in the top side. And actually going for the engage now. QV, again, he doesn't have the stopwatch, has to flash away, but there it is. Mana is there for the flash taunt, and they get the kill for the side of KT. Nicely done. Looked like the mid turret did go down for the side of KT, but another charge comes in. Definitely a big win for KT.
Ambition wastes his smite, doesn't have enough damage to kill it, and the minimum damage is huge. Ruler will be able to do a lot of turret damage, and on the next minion wave, take it. Gotta wonder why QV and Gen G continue to stay up. They could have pulled away much earlier, but then they seem surprised by Shen joining the fight. That's just what Shen does.
Well, they let it go, as we talked about, and now it's coming back to bite them as 2 assists and 2 crucial kills to the side of KT. One in the bottom lane, one in the top, and the objectives are falling fast too. Let's take a look at how it happened again.
Again, QV and Ambition, he walks up for a Q trade against the full health Sejuani with ultimate and a Shen. That's just dumb from QV. I don't know why he does that with 2 members right next to him. Ambition seems surprised too. He's going to get away, but that's a pretty damn big punishment for the side of KT.
Yeah, you got to know what you're going up against. Sometimes being isolated in the top lane, your brain kind of goes soft. You forget what's happening on the Rift. You're on your own little island. It's the only thing I can think of. Even the Sejuani and Gnar are going to be able to get your flash out, so it's not ideal in any sense, even without the Shen.
Silly play from QV, unnecessary death does add to KT's early game gold situation. They're still behind because their lanes, as we noted, were in a bad spot, but Gen G trying to use their bot lane pressure on a second Drake here, trying to get at least some Drake stacking as a win condition for them as the game goes on.
Yeah. I mean, you see the trade on the map too. They get the Ocean Drake, but not only that, they get the mid turret, they also get the bottom turret, which was really the result of the Shen leaving the lane. So 2 turrets for 1, right? The extra kill goes to the side of KT. You know, maybe not the best performance out of Gen G, but they're still ahead in gold by 300. So it's not like the game was lost by any means by that one play. They also have 2 Drakes, the Infernal and the Ocean, to help out as they enter the mid-game.
45 CS lead or so between Fly and Ruler over their opponents. And the Siege, as we know from the side of Gen G, is pretty damn overwhelming. Haven't been able to take all 3 turrets, but Gen G Siege is their win condition this game. They start to walk up, making a very aggressive rotation through this KT jungle.
Score looking for it, you can tell. Not going to get it just yet, but take a look at Mana. It's going to get the free taunt there on a fly, but also the ultimate engaged on. The cleanse going to be used, but now Smeb all alone, nowhere for him to go. The Stand United keeps him just barely alive, but the smite almost gets him on the backside. Was the trouble bubble. Fly trying to be a sniper himself.
Living on the edge is KT Rolster. I'm sure Smeb thought he was going to the death chamber, but saved at the last by the Shen ultimate. More shielding, of course, the lower health you are, and that was definitely the maximum amount of shielding coming through from Mata. He lives. Gen G don't get the punish in the first kill on the board they thought they would. They want the red buff steal as well.
Not gonna get it. Score gonna pick that one up. But yeah, Gen G, they felt very aggressive. You know, they felt like now is the time to go in and fight. They have 1 item on both the Zoe and the Varus, but so do the Ryze and the Kai'Sa. Just a bit behind in terms of that farm.
And that's why the gold lead reads as Gen G is ahead by 400, therefore they're winning. The kill leads 2-0 to KT. That means KT's winning. What should we understand from all of this? Again, we said KT picked scaling lanes. They picked very risky in the 2v2. And with the kill and only being 14 CS behind, that's like winning the lane for the Kai'Sa, because teams don't dare pick Kai'Sa at a current power level in the LCK in a 2v2. 1 in 4 is the Kai'Sa 2v2, the only victory KT themselves over MVP. So it was a very brazen choice into Morgana Varus, but it has paid off. KT in a better spot than you would expect at 20 minutes, and yet Gen G could definitely still win this game. They still have very oppressive siege, and a lot of members of KT die in the midst of a trouble bubble into a Varus ultimate as QV with this focused build from the Gnar. It takes a lot of damage from Smith.
Oh boy, he doesn't have the ability. Let's see, he does have a stopwatch now, so he's going to actually stay alive. It's one thing I wanted to mention, but they're going to try to turn on the score now, who is going to flash. Really nice stun down onto Ambition. Everybody trying to get away from the Skarner, but finally he hooks himself Smeb. Looks like there's no hope for him. 1v4, they went a little bit too aggressive, and Gen G pick up a kill.
This time KT, as you say, turret diving someone who bought a stopwatch. Stopwatch does change the equation, gives so much extra time for him to come up. Def can't afford to be stunned. He does pick up the trouble bubble, but will QSS it.
I mean, you'll remember the beginning of the game. I was like, hey, nobody picked up a stopwatch. That's weird. Well, it is a purchasable item, and 4 people on the side of Gen G picked it up afterwards. Even the Varus interrupting his build, saying, I need to pick it up too. They want to win this mid-game on the back of 4 extra stopwatches, I suppose.
Getting so much turret damage is Gen G. KT have to fully commit, and if they don't fully commit, they lose things. There's teleport coming in.
It's going to be a really nice teleport, but double flash available. Fly trying to get over the wall here, but the rest of KT comes in and takes him out. Another kill going over to the side of Def, and here comes the flash from UCal as well as the Kai'Sa. A double kill now to Def on the Kai'Sa, who picks up a huge chunk of gold.
They're set up on a silver platter to be hard carried by the Kai'Sa. This is what's going to happen increasingly in teamfights. Q Evolve now available with the Storm Razor and the pickaxe. So much burst damage, so many plasma stacks from Rise, from Sejuani, from the teammates. Roll him up, stack him up. He will definitely knock him dead. Here is the replay. It's a teleport from Smeb just to remove disengage options for Fly. They get the first kill very easily. And then we know all about CC. CC comes in, the Kai'Sa flies in. Goodbye, Cuban.
Look at Ruler in the mid lane just dying alone here. What the hell is going on? By himself as Deft is taking the bottom turret. Unbelievable. That is another big mistake, and well, KT will gladly accept it.
2 games in a row. We didn't see how that one started, but it ended with Ruler dead with none of his teammates around. Seems like another solo mistake there from Ruler. They're losing so much on the map in just one play.
It almost feels like Gen G are the ones getting excited because they got a slight lead and they felt like, okay, now's the time to go with all of our stopwatches. Let's try to fight. KT says, hell yeah, let's do it. Ruler here trying to run at the Mega Gnar. Decides, okay, guess I'll go down.
Doesn't have any map vision to his right, or to our right, and thus gets surprised by the Sejuani. Ult misses, but the kill still is registered. Def close to that Rage Blade already, way ahead in terms of items of where we expected. And now the slender gold lead is on KT. That's worrying times for Gen G.
Definitely is. I mean, the items are going to eventually come in here. Rage Blade for the Kai'Sa. It's going to be a scary one. If she can get those good engages that she has been getting, it will be positive. And KT, they will not let this second Infernal go down without a fight.
Kai'Sa just teleports in and has that big engage range with the Killer Instinct QSS as well.
Trying to do a bit of chip damage here. Score has the positioning on the smite. They're going to have it come on in. They engage onto the Skarner, but no follow-up. They just want the Drake instead. The trouble bubble on Amada, and he disappears. Now Cuvée in the front line looking to take down Score. Ambition going to flash on top of the Shen too. But Smeb actually, that was Gnar. He gets out of there with a perfect Realm War from the Rise. Unbelievable, but Score on the backside, not going to be able to have his friend help him, will go down.
And the punishment here could be a Baron for the side of Gen G. They're going to run straight to that objective and try to make it happen. Score is dead. Can KT find a way to stop this? It's so difficult when the Zoe can just patrol and stop the face checks from happening.
Well, we'll see if KT want to go in here 3v5. And they missed the panel star, but UCal just charging on in, and there's the Kai'Sa. Does a lot of damage on the front line. Good taunt there with the dodge circle. Also, Smeb going to join up, but look at Ruler in the front line. He's going to push Deft away, and it looks like Ruler's going to try to win this fight for his team. Mana and UCal so low. Smeb, though, on the top side, going 1v3. Takes out a kill. UCal's going to go down eventually, as Swain also took out Mata, but they stopped the Baron, which was very important.
Yeah, they have to give up kills. They serve them on a silver platter, but it's all to stop the Baron going down. The Baron is repelled. Dev picks up red buff and will try to get his Rage Blade gold on the bot side. Not able to take over a team fight just yet at 1.5 items. KT thought it might have been that typical KT throw around 22 to 25 minutes. It doesn't happen here, and they get another lease on the game.
It's definitely really good stuff. They get that Infernal Drake as well, and giving a couple of kills away, not going to be the end of the world. Let's see how this happens again.
I mean, Yukal's job is the worst. Just please face check all the brush, please. But he has a Shen ultimate. Deft flies in. Ruler can free auto. He has no threat onto him very early in this team fight. That's why Deft has to get the hell out very early. But while Ruler's free autoing, Score runs at the backline 1v3 and clearly does a lot of damage.
If the binding wasn't there from Core JJ, they both died. So not the best scenario. Ambition also got super low on a relatively early Baron, so he did have to go down. The team fight damage was there from Ruler, you mentioned. It's an AD carry's dream, right? To just have no pressure and do that damage in the backline, and that's what Ruler was able to do that time around.
Teleport is up on Smeb. See if his next teleport can be better as we're going for Ruler.
Oh boy, Ruler gonna get caught out here again.
Yeah.
He's gonna flash away.
Good control play. They don't need to chase into no vision. They didn't know exactly where Skarner was. They get a free flash, so you definitely take that if you're KT.
And just walking over the vision. There was also a control ward there, so KT saw him coming by a mile. And, well, nice little flash. I mean, that's going to be fantastic as he still doesn't have a QSS. He only has the stopwatch, so if it goes to the side of KT and they get on top of Ruler, he's dead meat.
Stopwatch, like you say, but being rooted in place as the Varus always has those bad results. I like the Gnar build. It's definitely one to try to dunk lane and try to keep Swain accountable as long as possible. Wit's End, the Executioner's Calling, the Black Cleaver for a bit more utility. Fly, once again, feeling that trash talk debuff. Remember, he was the one who asked for the 2 HP smites from his old teammate and Score, but might not be a game of smites. Seems like it's just going to be about outplays as well. JJ's dead.
Yep, that is, I think, the third time this game where a member of Gen G has been caught out. They were really clean in game number 1 outside of the one time Ruler got caught. And maybe just the long game, they're just not responding to this pressure very well. They do not have the vision in the river, and unfortunately it's Core JJ on the weak Morgana that has to put it down. Doesn't have the support, and they easily take his life.
Core JJ's only played 1 game of Morgana in a loss because usually his job is to Tomcan, just to clear vision and be safe to allow Ruler to live. They're on the Baron, it's currently at half health.
Let's see the smite here. How's it gonna be? That's really the question. Ambition looking for it, and it's not gonna go to him this time. A little bit early on that one. Everything gets low. Cuvée in the back line here is gonna have to stopwatch. Has the Zhonya's now, and down he will go. They're gonna stop his killing spree. Yukal picks that one up, but a fantastic play to the side of KT.
That's a smite. Score needed in an actual contest. He's able to pick it up. Full zoom onto Score. Answering his critics. Big smiles here, big cheers from the fans. A lot of Chinese fans in the audience as well for KT Rolster, always. And a massive fan base given these players lit up the LPL. Marta comes back. He says, please, Score, I need to win the MVP. I deserve it, seriously. But the Kai'Sa closer and closer to that third item. KT Rolster closer to a very unlikely 2-0 victory over the previously rampaging Gen G.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to get excited. You don't want to call it early. But again, we made it past kind of the throwing mark, and they get the smite good on the first Baron. Hey, it doesn't look like KT at all.
Level 14 to level 13. Let's watch the smite. It's on point from Score. That's all you need to know. Cuvé's able to zone for a long time. Deft can't get into the back line this time, but Ruler has no flash, so he can't really walk up. Cuvée gives up his life. KT get the Baron. People around the world get a bit excited, Valdez.
I can feel it.
Is it safe to be excited for KT Rolster? We all know the answer is no, but for this series, it might be yes.
I said it the last time around, you know, it's time to get excited. I don't feel like the game is over just yet. Certainly, you know, it's only a 3,000 gold lead. There's certainly still room for some throws to come through, but it is looking good. Going to be the push up in the top side from Smeb. Takes out another turret with that Baron buff, and still 2 minutes to go. They put on the 1-3-1 with their Rise, and they're just happy to do it.
1-3-1 is the important part. As you can see, the siege is pretty woeful from the side of KT. They only have the Gnar as a split pusher, and the rest of them are pretty short range. Kai'Sa does everything except Siege, so we'll excuse her on that one.
Push coming in here. Took a long time to take down the turret, but when you are this far ahead with the Baron buff, you can just wait for the cannon minion, and then come on in. And, well, they're looking for even a second turret in the mid lane. Ambition still looking for that really game-changing Impale. He's gotten a couple, you know, secured a kill down in the bottom side with one of them, but it hasn't ended the game just yet. KT have always responded very well.
Might be worth just flash holding the score and try and, not score, Armada, and just try to kill him. He's the easiest one to kill. Get the Shen. Score is another option, but obviously going to take a lot longer. Rolster still doesn't have flash, so you have to be very proactive with your play. Otherwise, he will have to kite backwards instantly, and they've lost 2 turrets already in the mid lane.
And the push continues. 37 seconds, and look at just that one amount of damage onto Ruler, a bit of trading, and then a W to the face. It's like, okay, Predators coming in. They're trying to zone now with the vision of Empire of the Swain, but it's just the full court press. The 1-3-1 is extremely effective here. It's super effective, you could say, from the side of KT.
Smeb in the minimap here is just ignoring the Swain and taking the inhibitor turret. That's going to be 2, that's going to be 3 in one go.
There you go. In the span of about 5 seconds, 3 turrets fall on the inhibitors, and Gen G look lost. They have no way to stop this. Even the Swain in the top side running out of mana. He needs to go back, and now he's going to be late. The flash on in. They're looking for score this time, but he's extremely tanky, and Ruler forced the stopwatch early. Going to the back line here is Death 1v4, but he has the support of his team now. Yukal's going to be there. Gets another Zhonya's out of Cuvée, but down he will go. And it looks like KT are in a fantastic spot to take the game.
Get excited, fans. KT Rolster have been able to outdraft and outplay Gen G here. They took such a calculated risk. They look at Gen G and say, we can get away with the Kai'Sa. They certainly have. It's a highway robbery.
Oh boy, they have. Only the 1 inhibitor left with the 2 Nexus Search and the double TP.
Okay.
They don't want to have this game go on any longer. They're going to end it. Trying to snipe here is Death. But with the 2 TPs, I think they will at least go for the inhibitor. Kind of reconsidering the Nexus turrets right now without their Baron buff. So they take the 3rd inhibitor, and now they'll look to back away. They're going to try to get onto Deft. There's the trouble bubble. They got the linebackers in the front, but here is the rest of the team. The taunt comes through, and Ruler gets low, but KT's even lower. They need to back off immediately. They get the objective, a bit of a risky play, but it works out.
It's in service of 3 inhibitors, a Baron buff power play. I'm not sure we're going to have the exact numbers, but this one was the one to remember. So many turrets rolled down. Watching the replay, full engage onto score as they take the Infernal Drake in the picture-in-picture. All about zoning, all about buying time. Def feels like he can end the game, but they can't kill Ruler. They only kill Cuvée. They get 3 inhibitors. It's still definitely worth from the side of KT, but they don't quite win the game.
I loved Mata just immediately taunt flashing Ruler the second that Ambition engaged onto the Sejuani. He's like, no, there will be no damage onto my Sejuani, actually. Does exactly that. Saves his life by taking Ruler out of the fights, and then the double TP for just a bit of swagger on the backside, saying, no, we're not done here yet.
Oh boy. It's so close, Valdez. The excitement is so close to coming to fruition.
Yeah.
How can you not be excited? KT fans will start to believe that summer may be their season. Gen G shaping up as one of their biggest opposition. It's always different in the best of 5s against Gen G. It's always different when it ends up being those big games, a final, for example. But in the regular season, with both these teams 3-0, that would mean that the side of KT would move to 4-0 in the second round robin, and that's a 4-0 that includes a FLICKR Freaks, Griffin, and SKT. Say what you will about SKT, that is still 4 teams you feel good about beating if you beat Gen G as well.
Yeah, there's still the bottom of the pack to go through, you know? You still got the Jin-Air BBQ MVP lineup that you have ready to win, and you would favor this team up against, so KT feeling really good, but can they end the game is the question. 35 minutes in, and even with double super minions pushing in, struggling a little bit. As you mentioned, they don't have the best siege. May have to just go back to this next Baron.
Deft walked up, took half his health from a paddle star, and reevaluated his life choices. So you're right, I think Baron and Elder is probably where to go, and the Baron should be pretty easy. They have great turn off the Baron with so many ways to apply plasma and also huge damage. And speaking of huge damage, remember the Baron? Remember me! Cheryl Dean screams, she's dead.
That was just about as fast as you'd like it, even with double Infernal and not Mountain. No need for the 2 damage, they just take her down. And, well, now with Baron and double super minions in every lane, maybe now they can go for the end of the game.
Again, 5v5s with this many people with hard crowd control to apply plasma. It's difficult under Nexus turrets, but anywhere else, Gen G are going to be completely slammed by the Kai'Sa. She has QSS, she has GA. She is eminently strong at this point in the game. About a minute on all of the inhibitors, as we can see, thanks to the overlay in the bottom right of the screen. When do they feel strong enough? What engage they need? Does it need to be a Mega Gnar play from Smeb in order to start the fight? But any pick will do.
Already chunking out ambition with just auto attacks, just Smeb and Def, the duo. The ult's gonna go wide, but they just want to flood the base with some minions. Cube gonna make a last stand here in the front line, but it looks like KT, they have that open Nexus. They just want to win the game here. As the rest of Gen G desperately trying to get into that back line, but it doesn't look like they'll be able to do it. They all melt in the front line. Yucal in the top side too, gonna take out 2, and that's gonna do it. Get excited, the 2-0 for KT comes through over Gen G.
Big 2-0 today for KT Rolster fans. They will start to believe that summer season with Kingzone and SKT falling away, maybe SKT can be the kings of summer once again. It's been so many years, so that's been relevant. Good old 2014, it was KT Rolster Arrows. There was no score on that lineup. Score in the search for his first ever title. The title is not won in July, but it is a series victory for KT Rolster. Their drafting has been solid. They had a plan against Griffin. Leave open the Swain. We don't care about Griffin Swain. It worked. They had a plan in this game against the team of Gen G. Take the Kai'Sa. They won't be able to punish a weak 2v2 lane. It worked. KT have had the little miracles, the little advantages over their enemies. They edge this one out 2-0, and KT fans will feel like maybe this can be a time to smile and look forward to the next game rather than creep between your eyes and hope for the best.
They've definitely proven a lot, at least in the last 4 games. You mentioned FLICKR, SKT Griffin, and now Gen G in a row as well. They went down to Kingzone. That's the other big name that's still left. They lost to them 0-2 in the first round, but that was a more successful and more solid Kingzone in round number 1. I think in the current state of the game and the current state of the teams, KT is definitely favored over Kingzone. And that matchup will be happening on Thursday, I believe, so definitely wait and check that one out in a couple of days.
Now, if you care about history, Kingzone always beat KT, so we'll see if that changes, but you're right. Surely this is the time, right, where KT can perform against Kingzone. I believe, unless I'm mistaken, they're 0-6 on the year against Kingzone, KT Rolster, but the Gen G match was one of those tricky ones here for the side of KT Rolster, able to take them down, and what ended up being a very clean series. Yes, 0-6 versus Kingzone. Maybe this is the time. Is always the adage for KT Rolster. It's always the excitement and the depression. Mato was unbelievable this series, especially in game number 2, making the proactive plays when they needed him on this Shen. Might be getting to Lehen's territory when it comes to must-ban Shen against KT Rolster. The Kai'Sa looked inspired. KT, by far the better team over 2 games.
Yeah, made him look silly. I think Gen G, of course, a couple of crucial mistakes out of Ruler, out of Cube, out of even Core JJ. You know, the lineup that Gen G brought in certainly didn't look as solid as they did the past couple of weeks up against Hanwha, up against Kingzone, Afrika. KT looked like they put the fear into Gen G tonight, and that's not what you want to see as a Gen G fan.
But KT on their night can always have performances like this, where a team that has always had in 4 roles, a top 5 player. That's just the way with KT. With Yucal doing so well, maybe you start increasing that to 5 roles. Well, they have one of the best players, but strategically, they're so up and down about it. It's why the roller coaster fits them so aptly. They've never taken a game off of Kingzone Dragon X in 2018. They were on Cloud9 in the start of the season. I mean that figuratively, not talking about Cloud9 from NA.
Yeah.
And they were doing super well. And then they lost to SKT, which was one of their old bogey teams. Kingzone is another bogey team, but it's one that KT Rolster, based on today's performance, should beat.
Would have to agree. Now, anything could happen. Could just head on over to that match on Thursday and say, what happened to KT? They looked so good on Tuesday. Why did they just get crushed again? And everybody would get depressed, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe this is the beginning of something new. Maybe people can actually begin to throw away the excited meme and actually just, you know, enjoy their team winning and being ahead. Always feels like the climax of any KT game comes after the game ends, when you can be 100% sure that the game is actually going to the side of KT.
You're always waiting to come crashing back down to earth as a KT fan. And you definitely don't want to reach the apex of your excitement 4 matches into the second round robin. KT Rolster have not qualified for Worlds. They have not won LCK Summer 2018, but on this day, they were much better than a Gen G team that was right up the top. Gen G, if they had won here, would have been joining Griffin at 10 match wins. Instead, KT Rolster joins Gen G at 9 match wins, and the difference between first and fifth is still so damn small.
Really, anybody at this point could get first place. You know, Griffin, they still have to remain solid through the second half of round 2. Another team could come ahead of them if they do not, and really it could be any of the teams that are left available. So, curious to see who is going to be the MVP from this match. I do feel like Deft had another fantastic game, but Mata on a Shen, also really nice.
It's going to be a bot laner, you'd have to think. See what the decision is. Gonna be Deft once again. Mata gets robbed, you'd have to say. Had a wonderful game, but Deft had all the dominoes set up. Pulled out that gun. His gun was ready to go. Huge cheer from the crowd here for Deft.
Yeah.
One of the big stars of Korean League of Legends. 4th MVP of the season. Is it a different time for KT or more of the same? You only know if you keep watching, because the KT Rolster story never ends.
Well, guys, I'm gonna hand it over to G-Sun. Let's hear from the 2 wonderful gentlemen on the seats.
Thank you very much. This is Jason with their interview translation, and today we're gonna be joined by Deft and also Score from KT Rolster. So how do you guys feel about the victory? It was a hard match.
저희가 리프트 라이벌즈 다녀오고 나서
After Rift Rivals,
한판 지고 다 이겼는데
we lost just 1 game and we won the rest of the game, but we still have a lot of stronger teams coming up, so we're gonna make sure to come back with better performance and reach up to the first place.
이제 저희가 계속 강팀이랑 연전이
So we have a lot of difficult matches coming up,
다 이기고 있어서
but we are on a winning streak, so it feels really great.
남은 경기도
I'm gonna make sure to
이기면 좋을 것 같아요.
beat the upcoming opponents from now on.
너무 멋졌는데 사실 1세트에서부터 시작해서 엄청난 집중력이었어요.
So you guys were solely focusing on game.
발목을
So
붙잡는.
usually you guys make 1 or 2 mistakes during the game, so it was perfect and clean overall.
어떠셨나요?
So are you guys satisfied with your play?
예, 뭐 먼저 형님이 먼저. 네.
일단 상대 팀에서 좀 친한 선수들이 있어서
네.
Well, there are a lot of players
하더라고요, 친구들이.
that are close with me, so they made some kind of trash talk before today's match, so I tried to be considering a lot, and I carried the game, I guess.
오늘 안 나왔어요.
그 실수요?
그
So there was no smite mistake after all. So is there any message for Fly?
일단은 뭐 정신 차리게 해줘서 너무 고맙고
Thank you for sending me those kind of trash talk. It made me really feel more aware of my smites, and I will be looking forward to see you again in LCK.
자, 오늘 진짜 데프트 선수가 진짜 커뮤니티를 뜨겁게 달궜습니다.
And Dev, all the fans were hyped about you. You did not die once in Game 1. In Game 2, you also performed really well.
멋진 집중력이었는데 그래서 진짜 팀원들이 많이 놀랐을 것 같아요. 그 이유를 저희가 컨디션이 좋은 이유가 이게 아니라
So,
저희가 공식 SNS를 통해서
we saw this
볼 수가
picture.
있었습니다. 사진
It was uploaded today
보여주실 수 있나요?
in your KT Rolster Twitter. You guys were taking a nap before today's match.
쪽이라면서요.
I heard that you were the one on the the left side.
저렇게 숙면을 취하고 계셨는데 오늘 저 잠이 좀 도움이
So did that
되셨나요?
nap help you?
저기서 이제 자고 나서
Well, I had a nap over there. So actually, my head coach was a little bit mad about having a nap before match, but I think we're all okay.
밤새서 계속 지기만 해가지고.
Well, yeah, recently we have been staying up all night, but we did lose out a lot of practice games, so I was a little bit under confident, but today I think I performed really well.
좀 자야 될 것 같아요. 감독님한테 나 이제 잠잘 거라고.
Is there any message for your head coach?
자도 될까요?
Can I sleep?
아 너무 착하십니다. 네, 이렇게 경기력도 참 좋았기 때문에 오늘 이 컨디션 조절이 얼마나 중요한지를 좀 느낄 수 있었던.
You guys are staying well, and that led you guys to pick up the victory. So let's move on to game 1. Well, you guys had a very hard start in the early game, but you guys managed to turn the game around. Especially Genji tried to initiate team fights, but you guys kind of dodged it. And also, KT Rolster made a lot of crowd control engagements with Rakan, Sejuani, and Zaya. So was there planned? Who was the main shot caller at that moment?
일단 해설님이 말씀해 주신
Well, just as you mentioned, yeah, exactly.
제가 주문을 계속했고
I was the one making all the calls.
모습이 그래서 잘 나왔던 것 같아요.
And I think that kind of ended up in a really good result.
여기였죠. 이제 경기를 끝낼 수 있는 마지막 장면이었는데 먼저 들어가셨어요. 그리고
So you opened the team fight. It seemed like you were backing off, but Rakan went back in, and there was the wombo combo over there.
뭐 저의 설계도 있지만
It was my plan, but also
마타 선수가
Mata,
뭐 결국 잘 본 거니까 마타 선수.
yeah, he also opened the team fight really well, so he kind of did pull that off really well.
없었어요. 다 진짜 모든 선수들이 자신의 역할을.
Yeah, I think all the 5 players were contributing a lot.
중간에는 약간 위기가 찾아오나라는 생각이 들었는데.
And moving on to game 2, there was a slight mistake, right?
그래서 완벽한 마무리를 또 보여주신 것 같아요.
But Dev, I saw that you were fully concentrating in games. Is there any highlights that you want to mention?
장면인데 그 전에 딱 하나 선수한테 질문하고 싶은데
So I have a question for Dev.
모르가나를 보고 카이사를 칼픽했습니다.
So Genji went with Varus and Morgana, and you guys locked in Kai'Sa and Shen. But a lot of people expect that Genji's bot composition would be stronger, and you didn't even went for cleanse as your spell. So were you really that confident facing their duo on bot lane?
신나셔서.
And I heard that you were dancing when you dodged every skills.
감독님이 정해 주신 대로
About the team comp? Yeah, I'm just following what my head coach or coaching staff tell me to do.
라인전은 초반에 힘들긴 한데 그것만 잘.
Well, yeah, it is natural to have hard times in the laning phase, but if you like pull that off till the late games, I think I was able to do my role, so I was feeling confident.
우리 데프트 선수라면은 이 라인전 극복할 수 있다. 그리고
So I guess your head coach or the coaching staff did come up with really great team comp.
아닌가라는 생각이 또 한번 듭니다.
쥐어줬는데 오늘 너무 더 잘해서.
And you know, the faith in depth kind of ended up with really wonderful results.
어떤 경기적인 질문이 더
이
있을까요?
세트에서 이제
So speaking of game 2,
아군 미드 타워와 바텀 타워가 무너지면서 KT가 안 좋은 상황을
KT Rolster was in a little bit of a bad situation, but score. You tried the Herald and used the Herald on top lane, and you know you kind of made a lot of snowballs from that. So let's go through the clip.
조금 지난 장면인데 이때 어떤 생각을 가지고
So what kind of situation was going over there?
일단은 저희가 미드 바텀이 확실히.
Yeah, I knew that our mid laners and bot laner had a weak laning phase champs, so I just thought that, yeah, maybe I should try Herald and try to take down the top turret first.
설계한 대로 된 것 같아요.
And I'm glad that it went as I planned.
데프트 선수의 장면을 또 봤으면 하는데.
Then let's check out the highlight of Deft.
텔레포트 순간 이동을 타면서
So Smap used his TP, and there was a team fight at that moment. So let's go through the clip first.
있나요?
조금 기다려야 되나요?
I think we need some time to prepare.
만들어야 돼요, 이것도.
네, 기억나시죠, 데프트 선수?
So Deft, do you remember that moment?
근데 제가 뭐 딱히 잘한 건 아니고 그냥.
Oh, I do remember, but it wasn't a super play on my side. It was just like good teamwork from KT Rolster.
보시면서
나왔네요.
마타 선수가 도발 들어가고
So the team fight opened by Mara,
여기서 또 확 임팩트 있게
and you guys picked up a lot of kills over there. And Def, you were showing off really good performance.
뭔가 약간 너무 당연하다는 듯이
당연한 거예요.
Seems natural for you guys, right?
뭐
가능한 장면.
네, 누구라도
Yeah, it was not a hard task for us.
그러면
누구라도.
Everyone can do that.
그래서 진짜 겸손하시군요. 오늘 진짜 잘하셨는데.
Because
이제
Def is
경기
really
내용을
humble.
이 정도로 졌고
And
팬분들이 또 많은 질문을 남겨주셨는데
we have a
그중에
question from the
하나를,
fans.
정리를 해봤습니다. 질문 보여주실 수 있나요?
The first one is that,
이게 사실 유칼 선수님에게
so this question was actually for Yukal.
푸트 선수가 그 지난번에 유칼 선수가 이제
So Yukal made a ranking about KT Rolster players in real life, but you were not even in the rankings. So
서열이 좀 바뀌었다는 얘기를 들었는데 복수 시간
can you tell about your own rankings about KT Rolster players in real life?
왜 옆에서 도리도리 하고 계세요?
일단 뭐 제가 제일 아래인 거는 맞는
Well,
것
it's
같고,
obvious that I am on the bottom.
일단
위로하지 마세요.
동빈이 형
I think
같은
score.
경우가 약간
He's not like the top,
위도 잘 못 건드리는 그런 위치에 있는 것 같고
but he's like maybe over the top.
무슨 이야기일까?
1등이 이렇게 있는데
네.
Well, there is someone on the first place.
1등은 아닌데
And obviously, score is not on the first place, but the person on the first place doesn't even touch score.
고수, 영순이 은둔 고수.
So I'm gonna say I'm a hidden gosu of KT Rolster.
1등이라고 생각하는데
And Smap think he's on the first place, but I disagree.
마타 형,
I think Mara.
마타 형,
Or maybe score and Mara and Yukal and Smap and then me.
그렇게
That would be the
정리를
ranking.
합니다. 네. 자, 답이 되셨을 거라 생각하고 근데 여러분을 약간 복수를 하신 것 같아요. 기존의 그 유칼 선수뿐만 아니라.
So it can
자,
be
이렇게 한번 마무리
revenge
짓도록 하겠습니다.
revenge
자,
for
다음
Yukal.
경기 정말 강팀과의 대결이
And
계속 남았다고
moving on,
말씀하셨듯이 킹전과의
your next opponent
대결이
will be
두
Kings
번
and Dragon
남아있게
X on
되었습니다.
Thursday.
진짜 계속해서 상위권 싸움이 펼쳐지고
You
있는데
guys are
이제
having really rough
팬분들이
schedules, and a lot of fans are worried about it. So is there any last message for them?
네, 일단은 이번 연도에 저희가 킹존 팀한테 좀
Well, this year,
도전을 했는데
we had a lot of hard time facing Kings and Dragon X, but this time
팀들한테도 많이 이겼고
we are making a lot of revenge for all the teams that we were beaten in the first round robin, and also we are on the really rising
킹존도 꼭
for
꺾도록
performance. So we're gonna make sure to
네,
take down
감사합니다.
Kings and Dragon X this time.
푸트 선수도 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
네, 꼭 이기겠습니다.
I will win.
역시 데프트 선수. 고맙습니다. 자, 이렇게 해서
Very
오늘
concise
두
message
선수를
from
만나봤습니다.
Deft,
기대해도
and
완벽한 경기력이
So this will be the end of the interview with KT Rolster, Deft, and Score, and I will pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Thanks, Jisun, for the translation. Lots of fun parts from the interview. I don't think Deft is the lowest in terms of the team rankings. He's been doing quite well. And wow, KT, clean as you would like. Even though the first game was long, they won it, they didn't make any mistakes, and game 2 was even more decisive.
And everything changes at the top 4. Griffin's still number 1, but KT jump up in game score above Genji. Kings and Dragon X look like a weak 4th, actually, after their very one-sided loss in the first series. Afrika Freaks knocking on the door. We'll see who Afrika face tomorrow. They'll be facing MVP. I imagine ADD will still be missing, so you have to think Afrika Freaks will pick up a match victory and join the group at 8 match wins.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a longer one tomorrow. The Super Wednesday, the final one, gets the bottom 6 teams, but then Thursday once again gets the same 4 teams from today, just in a different order. That's going to be a Super Thursday, if you'd like.
Super Wednesday, guys, so North American viewers especially, a benefit by this will start 3 hours earlier, so 1 match times earlier, 2 p.m. Korean Standard Time. Think of today, rewind 3 hours, and that's when we'll be starting tomorrow. All of the matches, again, we don't have the teams from today involved, so Afrika's the only top 5 team that plays, but there's still a lot to be decided at the bottom and the top of the table before we get to those playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be fun tomorrow. I think there are a bunch of teams that you have to look at and see where they're at, right? Afrika, if they don't 2-0 MVP, it's like, oh, what does that mean about them, really? Especially without ADD, right? And you look at SKT, how are they doing? I think they're playing BBQ,
Yeah,
right?
first match.
So if they don't 2-0, then it's like,
Here's a question.
What's going on?
Here's a question that people want to know right now. Is FLICKR playing? They just won 2-0 without him. They play in the first match tomorrow. You'll find that out at the time. We don't know. Just like with ADD, again, educated guess. I had a player in another esport. He was out for about 3 to 4 weeks, so it seems very unlikely he's going to make a miraculous return. He hasn't played on his solo queue account, so do the mental math, probably not playing. So a FLICKR should come in. Huge favorites, Keen versus somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know who that somebody is.
Hopefully Max. I want to see Max.
You want Max top?
Yeah. I think at least give him a shot, right? I mean, Maha didn't do all that well. But again, it was against Khan, and they had less than 24 hours
Oh, good.
practice.
Now it's Keen.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least now they have more time to practice the top lane, whoever it's going to be. And I want to see what SKT's lineup is going to be, just like everyone else. But, guys, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
I see you always wanna go somewhere to waste your golden soul. I see the smile you never show. Oh no.
It's been many days, many ways misled, knowing that I'm tiptoeing on both sides of the fence, trying to figure it out, but I'm living in doubt. So scared one day that your grace might run out, cause I'm so far from perfect, so close to worthless, feeling no good for worship, trying to understand this life that you purchased. Am I just a man destined for death, or do I deserve it? You died for my sins and that's the verdict. You carried out God's true will and purpose with urgency for the sake of love, forgiveness and eternity. Your grace is enough. I got so many questions, so many things to change. I'm calling out, but sometimes you're far away. I get discouraged and seem to always fall flat, but that's when you pick me up and bring me back.